It's my pretty face right there.
Got out, man. Got that job, and right after that 10-week CDL class, bro, the next job I got was 17 an hour, and I thought, wow, dude, this is gonna be the one that really helps me, like, change the trajectory of my life financially. So I started getting involved in the oil fields, bro. Met my beautiful wife in church, man. Got married, started having kids. And I got off parole, and I was kind of a free agent at that time, bro. So I started chasing the oil field around Southwest Colorado, West Texas. We moved to South Texas during that first big frac boom back in, like, what was that, bro? 2011?
It was about 10 years ago.
2013.
I remember we used to see shitloads of people just leave the units to go to the oil field. Yeah, there's a little secret. The reason that correctional officers and TDCJ can no longer get CDLs through Texas is because of the oil field. They will get their CDLs and then they will leave. They will get the CDLs to be transport, and then they would get their CDL and go work in the oil field.
Right. That's way better paid, bro. Oil field is very lucrative industry.
Yeah, it's like, do you want to drive this bus? Or do you want to drive this tanker?
Right. And that's what I do. That's what I've been doing for a lot of years. For a lot, like 80% of my career in the oil field was hauling production fluids in a tanker. But I've done like some hydrovac stuff, and right now I'm a chem hand. But we finally found our way up in North Dakota. I started coming up here several years ago when the recession in 09 happened, bro. We lost a house in Colorado. And it kind of sucked, bro. I was working really hard trying to salvage everything, and it was just going downhill. And I'm like, well, I had a brother-in-law in North Dakota working in the oil fields, and he's like, dude, get up here, bro. Like, starting wage is $25 for anything up here. So I went up there, man, and I'd work for a little bit, then I'd go home, kind of had a routine because I didn't want to be away from my family. But I got serious about 3 years ago. I just told my wife, look, I need to take a year, go up there, work 6 weeks on, 10 days off. And I got serious about my money, bro, serious about, got my wife through college doing that. And now we live up here, and she's a teacher at a Christian private school and a second breadwinner for our home and stuff like that. But I just want guys to know, man, that the journey of going from where I was, where they may be right now, is not an overnight thing. Like, you don't wake up and then the next day you're like, all right, I want to change my life and be successful. I mean, we are literally learning how to be a man. And it takes time. How to be a better father, how to be a better husband, how to stay sober, how to manage anger, how to manage your finances, how to manage your health and your fitness, and, how to avoid debt, credit cards, and really make better decisions. And there's a lot of face plants, bro. There's a lot of times where, the worst of you gets the better of you.
Well, one of the hardest things in life is freedom of choice. That's what a lot of people don't understand, is you make the decisions. Nobody makes these decisions for you. Once you get to a certain age, there's no longer a hand that helps you. You have to help yourself.
Yep, absolutely, man. And guys need tools to do that. And that's why I'm a big advocate, bro, for what did it for me, bro, was even my deep dive to self-betterment really kicked off in 2016. We're living, as I was telling you on our warm chat here, we're living in Seguin, and the oil field kind of dropped a little bit, bro. So it was hard to find work, bro. But I ended up getting a job driving a belly dump, hauling gravel around San Antonio. I noticed this reoccurring pattern in my life, bro, that every time I would hit a certain level of success, I would pull the pin on a hand grenade and throw it into my own life. And I would tear everything down, bro. And I couldn't figure out why I kept doing that.
So what do you mean by the hand grenade?
Say it again.
What do you mean by the hand grenade statement? Are you able to give examples? What is it that once you hit a certain point?
Yeah, absolutely. So this whole thing took me on this psychological deep dive, bro, that has been the most informative thing for me. Something that, quite honestly, religion didn't do for me. I had to learn the psychology of this. So have you ever met, this girl? She's beautiful, she's kind-hearted, attractive, and she ends up with these deadbeat guys that are abusive. They don't work jobs. They're like substandard losers.
Yeah, they're just losers. It's that woman that she can't find the man because she doesn't know how to look for them.
She doesn't believe in herself, and she doesn't believe that she deserves to have a top quality man because something happened to her in the formative years of her youth and adolescence that wired her brain to think that she doesn't deserve to have that. So when she gets out of that relationship, everybody in her family, all her friends breathe a sigh of relief because she's free from that toxic relationship. But then they watch in horror as not too long after she finds another guy who's an exact replica or even worse than the first guy. What is going on in the psychology of her mind that keeps her stuck in that place when she could have any man she wanted? Why do you have the guy that sobers up, starts making good decisions, and right before he gets a couple of paychecks in his bank account and really starts doing well, he'll relapse, spin out on dope for a couple of days, lose his job, spend all his money, and wind up right where he started again? What happens to us, Javier, is during the course of our youth and adolescence, we formulate an opinion about ourselves. And that opinion is a limitation barrier on what we believe the level of success is that we're able to achieve. So as I would start hitting that level or encroaching on that level, something in my subconscious would say, you don't deserve to be in this place. You don't have what it takes to maintain this level of success. And there's a lot of stress placed on the mind because of the amount of hard work and focus, in addition to just believing you deserve to be there. And so when you have a person that with their conscious mind wants to be successful, but their subconscious mind is constantly telling them they can't, there's this inner turmoil in the brain that can't be seen, but it creates this chaos in the mind. And what most people will do is, just to get the chaos over, they will subconsciously do something tragic to tear it all down, to bring themselves back to a level of success that they feel comfortable in, which oftentimes is a substandard level. And then they'll start making right choices and building their life back, and getting themselves to a certain place, and right before they encroach that boundary again, the chaos starts in the mind. And they'll pull a pin on a hand grenade. That's the metaphor I use.
Yeah.
Pull a pin on a hand grenade and throw it into their lap, blow everything up, tear it down, get back to a place that's known and comfortable.
Well, a lot of the times people don't know how to handle success. And
yeah.
A lot of the times people are used to living a certain lifestyle. And when they were no longer part of that lifestyle, they almost feel broken. They almost like, what do I do after this? And that's a lot of people's problems. Is you see the path. You see what you need to do to get to point A to point B. And it's very clear. It's a yellow brick road. It's from Earth to Mars. You just get on the Apollo and you fly there. But that's not what we want to do. We always want to find a way to stay down to earth. Even that means we have to hurt ourselves.
Yeah, that's it, bro. You got it, bro. And there's a reason for that goes back to primeval existence. And when this was explained to me, I was like, oh my God, that makes total sense. The brain is hardwired to consistently pursue pleasure and avoid pain. Always. So, like that caveman days, there was a part of the brain that would place a fear blocker in front of us that would say, hey, don't go out in the jungle at night because that's dangerous, right? Stay in the cave, stay by the fire because it's known, it's safe, it's comfortable. So we've adapted this mindset of avoid the new, avoid the challenge because there's danger and risk associated with it. Stay in the comfortable, stay in the cave. So when people are getting ready to get on a trajectory of immense levels of success, it's an unknown area. It's an unknown turf. And there's challenges involved, and there's risk involved, and there's the risk of failure involved. And the brain is constantly trying to provide safety for the body. Now, we live in times today where it's not tiger in the jungle, fear kind of a thing.
Well,
what
It actually is fear in the jungle, tiger, right now. If you keep up with certain social media, the way people hold themselves, even though the tiger doesn't exist, it's like me and you having this conversation. This is new territory for the both of us. Like, and you only fail when you stop trying. I don't think a lot of people get that. Like, we can do this and it can sound like the worst shit that we can do together. But we're doing it together and we're putting the effort and we know that we're not going to give up.
Yeah. I had to let go of ego because that's another thing the brain tries to protect you from. The fear of failing and people seeing me fail and being labeled as someone that tried to achieve something beyond their means and falling flat on their lofty ass, and the ridicule that's associated with this, like, oh, he's going to publish a book now. Oh, he's going to be a podcaster and talk about personal growth and development topics. Oh, he's going to be a public speaker. Like, who's this guy think he is? And I know there's people out there that are watching, people that have given up on their own dreams and goals, and they've gotten cynical.
Oh, I understand.
They wait for people to fail so that they can have them as the main course, basically, just eat them alive kind of a thing. And people are afraid of failure. They're afraid of the appearance that's associated with failure. Only way to the top. A big saying in the tech world is fail fast and fail often, because you learn through failure, right?
Yes.
You learn what your capabilities and limitations are, and you can go back to the drawing board and say, all right, I tried to do this last time. Here's where I failed. Here's where my obstacles were. Now the challenge began, and this time you can tackle it. You can predict where your obstacles are going to come from. You can surmount them. And then when that happens, you encroach that success limitation boundary and get into a new area in your zone. And you begin to convince your mind ultimately that, hey, we can function in a place of success. And it builds on tiers. Anybody that's against it overnight success, like let me give you an example. I know you'll get a kick out of this. The Island Boys.
Yes, I know the stupid Island Boys.
You guys were nobodies, bro. Like, they thought somebody in their own mind, bro. But they went just one video, bro, that people thought was like cool or hilarious. Whatever. These guys went from just nobody meeting involved who these guys were. And now I read something or seen something the other day on a social media post. These guys have lost everything, like complete train wreck, because they weren't prepared psychologically for that level of success. So as you're building your life back, you're building it in increments. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You're growing, you're learning, you're failing, you're falling forward. But eventually you get to a place, bro, to where you start to finally maintain a certain level of success in your relationships, in your money, your business ventures, your health and fitness, and all these different areas, your sobriety, everything. And when that happens, you have finally convinced the subconscious that you are not who you most thought you were. You also convince yourself that, hey, I made it this far. Anything is possible, bro. You know what I mean? So I've got big goals, bro. Big aspirations for myself. And I want to follow my ass trying to get to them, bro. But I'm not going to stop. I'm trying to change my family tree forever, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you mean you're trying to break the cycle that's been placed on your family?
Absolutely. I want to break the cycle, and I want to break the cycle, and I want to leave a legacy, bro, like a lasting, respectable, admirable legacy. You know what I mean? And that's the goal, bro. And
I mean, it's real hard to break the cycle. Like, I could tell you.
What's that?
It's very hard to break the cycle. Like, in my family, I am one of the only people in my family to actually go to college. And in a sense, my family looks at me different. They don't look at me like they would normally look at me. Or look at somebody that would just, like, if I were to tell them I'll go to the bar and sleep with a bunch of chicks and everything else, they would definitely be like, or I would have my boots and, you know, I don't have any children yet. And they're like, well, when are you going to have children? I'm like, when I find somebody to have children with, and not just have children for the sake of having children. You know, it's very hard to break the cycle, especially when it's generations. It's not just like you're the first. It was probably your mother beforehand, and probably her mother beforehand.
Absolutely. My grandmother was a full-blown, highly functioning alcoholic. Like by the time my mother had me at 16, you know what I mean? And I definitely noticed there's been a withdrawal from people from my life as I begin to get more successful. I don't know if it's jealousy. I don't know if my success shines a spotlight on their inadequacy. I don't know what it is, but people definitely look at me different, bro. And as long as I'm screwing up, I'm relapsing, I'm making bad choices, like, the connection between me and those people is there. But the minute I start getting on this success trajectory, I don't know what it is, bro. People just, I think it shines a spotlight on, bro, and it makes people feel uncomfortable, you know? Like, that's cool that you went to college, bro, and like you're a career man and all that stuff. You know, you tell me get ready to retire and all that stuff to put all that time in.
Yeah, and then I'm trying to I'm taking online courses through Coursera for Google, so that eventually I can actually start working at Google. That's one of my long-term goals, is to work there. And I've already turned down jobs in the tech world. I've even turned down jobs for the social media. But I would have to move to Dallas and live in a house with the entire team, with everybody that works for them, so to say. It's really because the job opportunity I had for interviewing and an internet media, they all live in the same house. I couldn't do that.
It's kind of weird.
Well, everybody, that's how they save money, is everybody lives there. And they're a studio. They transformed the big living room to a studio.
Okay.
And that's where everybody just basically takes turns. And I'm just like, I can't do that. I need to live on my own. I need to do and they're only going to pay you $40,000. I'm like, I can't do no $40,000. I don't know. I couldn't even pay my rent with $40,000 for the whole year.
Isn't it funny though? There was a day in my life, bro, where I would have been like, "Wow, 40,000, dude. That guy's successful, bro."
Mm-hmm.
Here I am living on the streets, homeless, you know. But you start realizing what you're capable of, what you're worth, your self-confidence starts to build back.
I think viewing your value is and not like overvaluing yourself, but knowing your value goes a very long way.
Yeah, absolutely. And for a guy, I don't know if you've struggled with this at all, but I would say for guys that are ex-cons that have a track record of, being convinced by their parents and by their own actions that they have no value, the hardest work is getting yourself to a place where you start to believe that you have value, that you have something to offer, that, like the world needs you.
No, I know firsthand. I have quite a few relatives that were in and out of prison. So I get to see them at the holidays. And then I get to hear, "Hey, boss." Long time. Yeah. So I see them they look like shit when they get in. And it never fails. And it's the same 3 people. So they look like they live off tacos and beer when they're out. So when they get in, they look like tacos and beer. And when they get out, 6-pack abs, they have guns, And it's just like a 2-year span. They go in, they do their time, they come out, they look amazing, and then it's back to tacos and beer. So I get to watch that.
Oh, right. The reoccurring pattern.
I get to see the reoccurring pattern of they're genuinely them making the wrong decisions, and they don't make the wrong decisions. It's always something like it's a woman that makes the wrong, or they just happen to hit. One of them tore down a mailboxes, and that was the start of the downfall. And I was all like, "Really? You couldn't just drink at the house and just play video games with me?"
That's the battle of the mind, bro. Where guys are out, they're working, they're starting to see a certain level of success. They're not comfortable with it. It's unknown territory. Something subconsciously takes over, and they realize the fastest way out of this is back to an environment that I know most safe and comfortable is to commit crime or violate my parole or whatever, And I remember myself, dude, when I was out of prison, I would have these very stressful moments because, like I said, we're all learning how to build our lives back from nothing, and life can be stressful at times. And during those stressful seasons, bro, I would start having dreams about being back in prison again. Like my subconscious was telling me, hey, like I know where we can go and just be safe. They'll do your laundry. They'll cook your food. You can sit and watch TV all day long and play dominoes.
Well, believe it or not, people feel at home there. That's what's sad about it. Is people are used to that lifestyle, so when they get out, like now one of the issues that currently within the state and amongst of others is these people are getting released. These people that are going home, a few of them always have this tendency to commit suicide or attempt suicide because they don't want to go out into the world. That fear of them having to take care of themselves, I'm not going to say is too much, but just the thought is overwhelming in their minds because they know what to do when they're in prison. They're told this is when you shower. You're told this is when you get your clothes. You're going to live the rest of your life eating beans. Here's your peanut butter and jelly sandwich. By the way, I hate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
I still love it. Stories one time, we were at Cracker Barrel, bro, and I'm like, these biscuits are so good, bro. They remind me of biscuits in TDC. Best biscuits I ever had in my life were in TDC, bro.
God.
I remember, bro, pancakes one day, fried eggs the next, pancakes the next day, fried eggs the next. That last stint, bro, when I got out, they put a bunch of us on the Bluebird and they called change. And this is one thing I don't understand about TDC. You could be from El Paso, like you live there, and doing time on the Sanchez unit in El Paso, and they will put you on a Bluebird when you get released and send you all the way to Huntsville and release you in Huntsville and buy you a bus ticket back to El Paso rather than just let you out in El Paso. It didn't make any sense to me. But, we caught the chain. We're leaving Tulia. We're on our way to Huntsville. And the chain started late in the afternoon. I don't know why, but they weren't going to make Huntsville that night. So they stopped at a maximum security prison. And I don't remember the name of it, but there was 28 of us on that bus, bro. And they don't mix those guys. So we're going to stay the night in this prison and then finish the chain to Huntsville the next morning. They never mix transient guys in general population. They always get an ad-seg room for the night. So we all file off the bus, bro. There were 28 of us, but there was only 27 open beds in ADSEG, and I was the 28th guy off the bus, and they put me in general population. So here I am, trying to stay quiet about being released and going home, put into a general population unit with guys that have triple stacked life sentences.
Oh yeah, if they find out you're going home, and they know you want to go home, they'll fuck with you.
I'm just like, I got one day to do here, bro. I just gotta stay quiet. I had a cellie. He was this black guy, like he was trying to educate himself, and he was taking college classes and all kinds of stuff. And they opened the doors. I went down to the day room and sat at this table, bro. And these huge peckerwoods came and sat at the table, bro. They gotta find out what I'm all about. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting there talking to him, bro, and I'm nervous, bro. Like. And I let it slip, bro. Dude, I'm on the chain, bro. I'm headed home. And they were cool with it, bro. They didn't give me a hard time, bro.
Yeah, Peckerwoods keep to themselves. Like the white people, they keep to themselves. They don't interfere in other people's lives unless they have a reason to.
Yeah. This big old boy, bro, he was working on his second 11. He had an 11-year sentence, got out, was out for 6 months, did an armed robbery, he gets some dope. Gave him another 11 sentence, and he reached across the table, bro, and he ran his finger behind my ear, bro, like this. And I was like, "What is this, dude?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're still wet behind the ears, bro. You need to get your act together, bro." And I was like, "Woo, bro!" Like, yeah. So anyway, off the chain. I think the good Lord, bro, was letting me see that, serious about changing their life, you're going to be in a supermax place like this with these guys when there's no hope, bro. You know what I mean? Guys that have 10 pieces and up that are never going to see the light of day.
Well, there's a lot of people in prison don't really want trouble. They really don't. They're not looking for trouble. It's just the few that are. And then they instigate everybody else. And then the ones that do the instigating don't even get in trouble. It's the ones that are following them. Yeah. That's one of the issues that I've always had.
Let the little soldiers do the work.
Yeah. Yeah, let me ag on these people, but no, not me.
Yeah.
Or I'll give you a story. Fuck it. I'll give you one. Like when COVID hit, during COVID, it was a 2 weeks. It would take 2 weeks that you were basically locked down. You basically had to isolate yourself. So we had quite a few people on the Garza units that were trying to go home. And they were super excited. And for us to tell them you can't go home for 10 more days, I would always have to hear, well, it's my day to go home. I'm supposed to be home already. Blah, 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 blah. And I would feel bad except for this one dude. This one dude, I was just so excited to see him stay longer. Cause I just fucking hated this one dude. And they gave me the chance to tell him that he had to stay longer, and he blew a fucking gasket, and I was like, thank you. How long I gotta be here? I'm supposed to be home in 2 days. Well, you gotta stay here for 12 more days at the least.
It's part of my life, bro, that will always be embedded there, bro. 93, 22, 96. I will never forget that number, bro. That's my TDC number.
How often did you have to repeat it?
Every time I moved around that unit, bro. Every time, you know. And I almost want to get it tattooed on the back of my neck or something. You know?
Should get it on your arm?
Yeah, that was my number, bro.
This is it's forever with me.
But I needed it, bro. I needed that season to decompress. Like the wake-up call happened there. It can be a good thing, bro, if your perspective is right. But if you don't have any intentions of changing your life, then it's just a matter of time. I was reading a statistic the other day that 70% of all felons are reincarcerated within 3 years of their release.
They are. That's a real statistic. Yeah. It's a very sad number, but when it comes to the prison systems, even the state, and when I say the state, I actually don't mean the prison, I mean the states itself. Like there needs to be better programs, and there's really not. A lot of people don't understand, but people make money from the prisons. They do.
I know. Yeah.
It costs $18,000 to house a person for a whole year. That's how much it costs to feed, to clothe, everything. $18,000. But if they're wrongfully locked up, they get something like $85,000 because that's potentially how much a person can make. So that gives you an idea of how much an individual like ourselves should be making.
Yeah.
If they proceeded as something like $85,000.
Yeah, I know it's a moneymaker, man. Texas went from like 12 prisons in the 60s and 70s, like 115 in the 90s, bro. It just blew up, man. State facilities everywhere. And I've seen a lot of guys, bro, get the hammer, sitting in courtrooms, bro, getting the hammer. And I'm thinking, man, dude, that guy's never going to see the light of day, you know, for any drug charge or something like that. And they had beds to fill, bro, so they were filling them up. But I'll tell you this one story, dude. I watched this swap stories, whatever.
I mean, we got it.
I'm sitting in the day room, and there's this pretty intense game of dominoes going on. And there was this young white kid, bro. We called him Pipsqueak. And he had absolutely no filter on his mouth. Like, it was his first time in the joint. He's playing dominoes with these black guys. And in my mind, I'm like, all right, dude, that's like your first mistake, bro. Like, you kind of need to be careful who you're hanging out with, you know. because these guys were rough, you know. And he ended up popping off and calling this one black dude. His name is Beasley. He called him a forbidden insult. And Beasley was holding 2 hands full of dominoes, bro. And he reached back and he smacked this kid, bro, like right in the mouth with these dominoes, bro. Knocked him clean out of that stainless steel table. Started kicking and beating him, dude. Just down the floor. Got him pinned up against the wall. Leading him to the ground. I know breaking up fights in prison is kind of looked down on, but I was like, dude.
Well, sometimes it has to be done because people don't see it. The staff sometimes won't see it. And you get to see the bitter end of the fight. And sometimes it's not always the best looking fight.
Yeah.
But
I grabbed Beasley. I wasn't going to fight with him. And I wasn't going to try to stop him beyond just telling him, all right, bro, look, dude. Like, you got your pound of flesh in, dude. The guards ain't seen nothing. You stop now, you might get away with it. That's how I approached it. I was like, hey, dude, like, no harm, no foul, bro. Like, he messed up. You took the boots to him. Let it be. But Beasley had snapped, bro, because he was finally coming to terms with his 25% they had given him. And it was for an aggravated crime. So he was going to do 80% minimum of that, you know what I mean? And he finally snapped, bro. And so anyway, bro, like somebody on the other end of the door pushed the panic button. Here come the guards. They come in. They get Pipsqueak picked up. They get Beasley cuffed, bro. Pipsqueak goes to the infirmary. And I haul Beasley off to AdSeg. And the rest of us are just like, all right, it's another day in prison, you know. And then a few minutes later, bro, this guard came in to collect all of Pipsqueak's commissary and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He was female and brand new. And very visibly nervous at being in that door alone with all of us. Nobody came in there with her. She came in by herself, bro. She was just trying to get in and get out as fast as she could, dude. And Pipsqueak had a bottom bunk, so when she bent down to get his commissary out of his bunk, where her pepper spray can was positioned on her utility belt, I don't know how she did this, bro, but when she leaned over, she decompressed the can into her own face. So we're all just standing around, bro, watching TV, just hanging out. It's no big thing, dude. Nobody's gonna try anything. It's a minimum security farm, you know. Like, we're all just trying to go home. But she was nervous, and something happened, bro. Like with her belly or something, she hit that can, and bro, she sprayed that base into her own face. Filled our happy little frat house, dude, with some of the most toxic perfume I've ever smelled in my life. She took off running, bro, and the breadcrumb trail of Pipsqueak's belongings out the door, bro. The rest of us had to just, like, sit and endure that, bro. Like, we never saw her again either, bro. Like, she never came back to her.
You know, the job is not for everybody. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, they think we're babysitters. And we're far from babysitters. We get assaulted. I mean, I got my scar from an assault on my forehead. And I was like real early in my career.
What happened right there, dude?
Some dude I was it. Some dude pissed off another dude, and I just happened to be it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a weapon involved?
No, not really. But you know, when you're fat, short, and stubby, and you know, it's never the person that does the act. It's always the other person that has nothing to do with it that gets it. And that's one of the things that people. But this job's not for everybody. Like we can receive like 30 or 40 people to the maximum security units, and we only keep like 3 to 6, and we lose like 30 people within a few days. And it's just they see the chaotic randomness that goes on. They see us show up to work and they're very short, or we have to stay and work 12, 15, 18 hours. It's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling when you know, or you think you could be doing something else, but you know you can't. This is what you should be doing because you signed up for it. You swore an oath to protect the public, do your due diligence, and reintegrate offenders into society. That's what you do. That's some of the oath that you have to provide by. But I'll give you one. Like, since you were talking about dominoes, we had an inmate on the Garzas. We called him T-Rex because his arms he was disabled.
Okay.
His arms weren't working. Like, he would just walk around without a t-shirt. He would have to bite his shirt. He would have to bite it, take it off. And his fingers worked or whatever. So he figured out how to make his arms work when he need to. But it's funny that you were talking about dominoes because he would play dominoes. And there would be plenty of times where he jolt his shoulder up to grab his dice, to grab the dominoes and try to look at them. And sometimes he would just make the mistake where he would have to reveal his hand because that's just his arms didn't work properly. He got locked up for headbutting a police officer. And he headbutted a police officer and they gave him 5 years or some stupid shit for Of course, you fuck around, find out, you know. And huh?
Go ahead, please.
Oh, and he would storm out of the pod and he'd be like, "Hey, Valderramos, what are you up to?" And he's all like, "Hey, do you need me to clean up for you?" I'm like, "Your fucking arms don't work." Why do you want to you can't clean, you can't hold. He's like, "No, I can help."
Crazy. The guards in El Paso at county jail and the cops on the street, bro, like you said, mess around and find out. I remember I was at county jail coming back for a court case after being in prison the first time, and this officer at county jail asked me what my number was, and I was so used to rattling off my TDC number, but he wanted my county jail number, which is a completely different number, right? I rattled off my TDC number, and he just looked at me. He was like, "Are you fucking stupid? Like, nobody has that number. What's wrong with you, you know?" And nobody talked to anybody like that in prison, bro. I was just used to somebody talking to me like that, bro. I had my hands up on the wall. He did the pat down, asked me my number, and then he started screaming and cussing at me. And I took my hands off the wall, and I looked at this guy like, "Man, who in the hell?" Half a second later, bro, I was laying on the ground, getting kicked in the back, bro, with steel toe boots. Them guards in El Paso, bro, they don't mess around, dude.
Oh my god.
Witness, bro. Cops on the street are the same way, man. That's why I never really understood this stuff that you hear on the news, bro, about, this police officer shot this guy or whatever. And then you watch the video, bro, and you see this guy fighting and wrestling with the cops, and he's got a gun in his belt, and I'm like, how did you not expect to get shot?
Yeah.
You were fighting with a police officer and you have a firearm. Like, when we were kids growing up in El Paso, man, the cops would soon just knock you upside the head, dude, throw you up against the car and kick you in the back, bro, and then let you go.
All right.
Take you down to jail and fill out paperwork. You don't mess with the badge, bro. Okay, cool.
And then we could promote the book because we could probably do this for another hour.
I know, dude.
All right.
Out here, bro.
All right. So we've just been reminiscing about what it's like to be in prison for the last 40 minutes. All right. So your book, Apex Masculinity, Defense, Sabotage, and Reclaim True Manhood. What are we talking about with the book?
Sure. Yeah. Defeat self-sabotage, reclaim true manhood. It's just the story of my journey going from, like I said, just the childhood trauma and stuff, and ending up with an 8-year meth addiction and a couple trips to prison and some times where I almost overdosed, and it's got a bunch of stories in there from my past and things that I dealt with. Some stories about one time I got T-boned by a semi when I was living in Texas, and just the journey of going from substandard to really begin to get serious and get focused and build an amazing life, and what the strategies, tips, and tactics are to do just that. And I put it together in 2019. It took me about a year to write it, but I finally got it published, and it's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble's online. You can get it in an ebook, paperback. I just got approved for it to be an audiobook on Audible. So I found this really cool guy on Fiverr, however you pronounce it, out of Hollywood, California, to narrate the book for me. And now it's an audiobook, and it's available on Audible. We also do the Apex Masculinity podcast, and I try to put a couple episodes a month out. In the beginning, when I was doing it, Javier, it was just me kind of monologuing by myself, just kind of sharing my journey and things that I had learned in the process of becoming a better man.
You know, I tried doing the podcast by myself, and I was just like, I feel so stupid talking by myself, you know? like it's amazing. Those people do the work by themselves. I think it's amazing that they're able to talk about themselves, talk to themselves generally.
Right. Yeah. No, it's I go into it prepared, like I've got notes and an outline and definite content on what I'm trying to provide to kind of help keep me on track. We talk about self-sabotage, self-limiting beliefs. We talk about relapse prevention, trigger awareness, fatherhood, parenting. I did an episode with my wife where we talked about romance and relationships, and what an apex man, what an apex man should be doing in his marriage, and with raising kids. And then about halfway through it, bro, I realized, there's a lot of really good people out there that are like experts in this space, and it would be really cool to start having people come on and share what they've learned on their journey. So, like, I've had this one lady, she's become a friend. She's in Canada. She came on the show and talked about a sexual assault that she went through and how it jacked her up for a lot of years. But she's gone on to, get married, and she's got a family. She's in marketing and merchandising and different things like that. Another guy that I found, I ended up hiring him as my life coach, and we went through a program. Another guy that he does one of those like men's retreats where you like crawl through mud and raise your wire and kind of get in touch with like your masculine identity. Had a lot of really cool people that come on the show, power lifters. Right now I'm trying to get some UFC fighters to come on the show and kind of talk about the journey of like how they made that decision to get involved in that sport.
I mean, I could find you some wrestlers on the indies if you want to settle for some indie wrestlers.
Yeah, dude, I'm open to whatever. I want to come on and talk about the journey of going from a substandard life to building an amazing life. People that want to come on and talk about how they leveraged trauma and tragedy in their life and used it as fuel to build for themselves an amazing life. Because I want people to hear these stories, because I think a lot of guys, and oddly enough, I have a huge following of ladies that listen to the podcast because personal growth and development topics are gender neutral. Like, we're all trying to be better people. And so having these people come on has led to some great friendships and relationships. And I've even networked with some like personal growth and development seminars with some of these people, And that's what we're going to keep doing. We're going to keep doing podcasts. I'm writing the second book now. We're going to keep doing personal growth and development seminars, and just keep working on building an amazing life for myself and helping other people do the same. So yeah, man, find us at Apex Masculinity podcast. We're on iTunes, Spotify. The book, you can pick the book up at Amazon, Barnes & Noble's online, get the audiobook and Audible, and check it out and see what you think, and leave us a review. And yeah, be good.
Yeah. All right, Nick. So is there anything else that we could talk about before we go our separate ways and you can go to be part of the barbecue?
I got most all of it out, man. I really appreciate you letting me come on and talk about my journey and just share what I'm building and talk about the Apex brand and all that stuff. But we should do it again.
We will.
I've got guys that have come on my show and vice versa that I've done multiple episodes with because there's just so much content out there.
We have plenty of stories. We can definitely just reminisce about the best and worst things.
Yeah, so stay in touch, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's Planet Texas. This is Planet Texas. Javier Valderramo signing out. Nick, did you want to say anything before we head out?
Anyone can loneliness and destitution and build an amazing life for themselves. That's how I always end my podcast. So,
all right. Thank you, Nick.
yeah, thank you, bro. Talk soon.
All right.